All right, guys, I'm back. James Clark, advocate, High Supreme Court. I feel like an idiot saying that every time. All right, are you ready? This could be one of my last recordings that you will receive. Also, not a lecture, just the introduction. This is distance learning, self-evaluations. You've got to go through it. We're going to talk a little bit. I'm just going to take you through the documents on cyber law. Again, just with customary law, I want to say to you that if there's other audio clips on here, the guides and the information has been amended. So if they refer to certain chapters or things like that, don't worry about it. It is the content that is important, and there is excellent content here. All right, there's excellent content here. I'm very impressed with the content and the way it's been set up. All right, so I'm just going to take you through where is what, assisting you with this cyber law situation. And another reason why we are doing this is that the Cyber Crimes Act of 19/20/2020 has just been promulgated. So now this is becoming important, and it's a FICAC. I've got it here. So I'm also going to page through that in a second or two. I just want to take you through a document. Now, look there on your system. You'll find a document with the name, the Law Society of South Africa's Legal Education Development Course on Information and Communication Technology for Practice and Associate Aspects of Cyber Law for candidate practitioners, all right? Candidate practitioner, and you are a candidate legal practitioner, because a candidate attorney and a pupil is obviously a candidate legal practitioner. All right, so I'm going to just page through it with you. And the developers of the course was Chandika Singh, and it seems to me like Nicholas T, and they're all very adequate and experienced people in the field. All right. So so if we page through here, we have orientation on page 3. We have the aim of the course on page 4, and then we have the introduction. The course for candidate legal practice information communication technology, that's on page 5 for practice, and associate aspects of cyber law is required in terms of regulations promulgated in section 109(1)(a) for the Legal Practice Act. So for legal practitioners, this is very important. And there's many guidelines out there actually to teach law firms how to secure their environment in terms of this. So let's have a look at it. We go there to welcome, and they tell you that the risks to be addressed are reputational risk for legal practitioners, business interruption, business continuity, shareholders and customers' confidence, technological risk, and regulatory scrutiny. So those are the things, that's the emphasis of this course. And then on page 8, I give you the aspects of the course, the responsibilities for personal and commercial information. There in chapter 1, they talk about technology, keeping system software updated, implement endpoint protection in your firms. This is all about a law firm. This is this approach. We'll get to the act later on. And what you should do in your law firm, because nowadays we've got hacking. I know about the conveyancing attorney that's been hacked, I think 3 times. And lost money due to such illegal actions. Use secure internet connections, secure web browsing and emailing, implement the data retention, loss recovery capabilities, encrypt data on devices, enable remote erasure, ensure that a cloud computer provider is secure, strictly manage control, access control, create robust network augmentation and segmentation, implement audit logs, consider application whistling, blacklisting, secure mobile devices, and secure devices that retain data. And there's much more. They take you through the organizational processes, implement a strong username, and all of those things. On page 10, they talk about staff training. This is, of course, very important. If you're going to be a lawyer and you're going to employ staff, what is cybersecurity? Most people don't know. They don't know how passwords are working. They don't know what the common threats are. So these are all things you're going to have to be looking at. Then on page 11, responsibility for personal and commercial information. You need that on the POPIA, the protection of personal information. This stuff you've got to safeguard, or you can get into serious trouble. That runs right through. And then on chapter 1 of page 13, they start by explaining the technology side of it to you. Since all law firms are vulnerable to cyber threats, each firm must employ up-to-date, effective, efficient technologies to protect the firm's entire computer network, including its data. As a lawyer, you are not expected to be an IT professional. However, you need to know enough about information technology, IT, to employ an IT professional to implement sound IT principles. And you need to know what questions and issues to focus on, and they take you through you. But if you're a one-man stand, you still have to know. But then you're going to be your own IT. They give you the practical steps on page 14 there. On page 15, they talk about keep your system software updated. This is always very important, and that runs through. And page 17 is implement endpoint protection. I'm just going to take you through it first. I'm not lecturing. I'm just introducing you to the subject matter to make it easier for you to know where to go and what it's all about. Because if you listen to me in a short audio clip, then you might have a better understanding what the content is. Remember, it's distance learning, self-elevation. You're becoming an advocate, and I've said it over and over, you have to be highly disciplined. On page 18, they talk about use secure internet connections. If staff work remotely, which is happening a lot today, ensure that the internet connection used is secured through a virtual practice network, VPN, and not an unsecured public Wi-Fi network. We have people working nowadays everywhere due to COVID. So secure your web browsing and email. Emails are getting hectic. They give you ideas there. Browsers must always be updated. Have endpoint security solution plugin and pop-up blockers enabled. Have autocomplete and autofill features disabled. Have the content filler feature enabled if available. For example, just the other day on one of the clips on your system, you will see people sent the reception area a bouquet of flowers. And in the flowers, there is an electronic device that captures data. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows where the flowers are coming from. So things like that. Implement data retention, loss recovery capability. Number 21. Loss recovery capability is very important for my chambers. If on all the systems I'm working on loss, what I've accumulated through the years as an advocate, I lose a lot. Not to talk about my intellectual property, if you know what I mean. There on page 23, encrypt data on devices. Encryption refers to making electronic files unreadable to individuals who do not have the encryption password or key to unlock them. Encrypting the entire devices and sensitive files is an extremely important approach to reduce cyber risk. On page 24 of this specific presentation, enable remote erasure. The loss of a laptop or other mobile devices that contains law firm's data is a common problem with potential for significant liability. So you must talk to your IT people that so if it's stolen at a distance, you can activate a remote erasure so they can steal their data. And I don't know how it works. I'm a dinosaur, but if you have saved it in the cloud, then to erase what's on that laptop is all right because you still have your backups. In any event, whether it's in the cloud or anywhere, you must have backups. I have a lot of backups, external hard drive like books, backups in my library. Ensure that the cloud computer provider is secured. Make certain that whoever you deal with, that everything is fine. They take you through there, teach you about that, what to look at, what questions to ask, and so on. On page 27, strictly managed access control. Access control refers both to the rights to grant certain individual administrators to access all over a portion of your network and particular resources and the files it contains. So have a look at what I teach you there, go through it. It's a PowerPoint presentation, by the way. I'm just paging through the paper version of it. On page 29, create robust network segmentation. A network needs a perimeter defense. But the perimeter defense, once pierced, renders the entire network vulnerable. So the network itself must be divided into separate segments. Go and have a look what they teach you there. On page 30, or if it's a PowerPoint clip 30, implement audit logs. Monitoring what is and is not occurring within a network on an ongoing basis is important, both to spot suspicious activity early and to identify unused accounts that the hacker could use to its advantage. Audit system user and application accounts on a frequent basis and disable any account that has no business need. Things like that. On page 31 or clip 31, consider application whitelisting and blacklisting. Each network has a foundational software program onto which are added various application software programs that perform specific functions. Apps often have code vulnerabilities that pose a security risk in themselves and must be evaluated and updated on an individual basis. Rather than allowing individual users to install their own apps on your firm devices, discuss the following with your IT support. Consider installing a system that will allow only certain types of applications to run. That's whitelist. And to prevent others from running, that is blacklist. On page 42, they talk about secure mobile devices. Secure mobile devices, most probably the most dangerous devices for hacking. A client can walk in, sit in your firm, and he is actually hacking you. Stuff like that. So have a look at what I'm telling you there. It's very important that you see how your firm is at risk. You will actually have a fright when you look at all your clips here under. I enjoyed it tremendously because they're very practical and you must look at them. And if you are going to practice, you're going to have to adhere to these. Because remember, if somebody can prove you were negligent in terms of data being lost and their personal information now out there, and they prove your negligence in the sense that you didn't do what was reasonable in your power to do, expect of a person in your position, then you can get sued for quite a hefty amount. So this is also very important why we deem this specific guide, this one I'm doing now, very important to you. 34, clip 34, secure the devices that retain data. Mobile storage devices such as flash or thumb drives presents risks both because of potential loss of the data that is stored because they can become infected with malware that is transferred to your network when a drive is plugged into the network program. I think we all know that one there. Then they go into scenario 8 test for chapter 1. You don't have to worry about that. That's not for you. That is not for you. You don't have to worry about that. Then we go to clip 36, organizational process. They talk there about what you can do, implement strong usernames, allocate roles and define responsibilities, evaluate legal and regulatory obligations, participate in cybersecurity information sharing. And then they break it up in 38. They say implement strong username password management along with a multi-factor authentication. So everything in the index there they've said, then they tell you more about it here. On 39, they deal with allocate roles and define responsibilities. That's very important always. On clip 40, identify sensitive data and protection protocols. Go and see what I am showing you there on the clips. I hope this run as a clip on yours because it's going to read well. It will take you just a while to go through it and know what's going on. You can only go through this once, and then you have it. You'll know what's going on. It's very easy to look at and very easy to understand. 41, conduct cybersecurity risk assessment and periodic system testing. That's important. That goes on for a while. They actually go deep into that. 44, implement cybersecurity policy document that aligns with identified risk and has minimum standards. A year I want to add on. All of these things, this one is especially, make a note there somewhere, make certain that you canvas this with your employment contracts also. 46, develop business continue plan system, segment system backups carefully, practice restoration of files for backups, develop system resiliency when the main network is unavailable. 47, develop and test comprehensive incident response plan, your IRPs. Depending on the size and nature of the firm, list the names and emergency contact information of the members of the core team of responders, including where appropriate representatives for IT, legal, information security, human resources, operations, and client relations. Page 48, it goes on to tell you more about that. The general accepted phases of your incident response plan are preparation, identification, containment, obviously containment, stop it, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. You don't want to get to that. You don't want to get to lessons learned. You want to be way up front of that. Then we look at clip 51 when they start talking about evaluate legal and regulatory obligations. This is important. This is legislative. Look at the Legal Practice Act and go look at all the acts. We're going to look at a Cybercrime Act in a minute. Just scroll through it and go and look what you're supposed to be doing, that you have to do in law if you are a company that falls under those listed companies. Then on tip 52, implement vendor and third-party service provider risk management plan. Before they are appointed, where a practical conduct due diligence on all vendors and third parties that handle, store firm data or have access to the firm system. And they say there, what are the firm's business requirements? Conduct a risk and compliance analysis. Is there scope for negotiation? Who is responsible for investigating a data breach that affects your firm system or data? Who is responsible for notification of a data breach that's required in the jurisdiction? And then, of course, clip 53 is all about conduct training and testing. Get everybody in a boardroom and deal with them. They give you some pointers here. Have a look at that. 54, which is very important. I think this is immense. Consider cyber liability insurance. Go and talk to the LPIIF and see how they can cover you. This is important. So that if something goes wrong and you are sued, you can deal with it on the foundation from an insurance policy. I think South Africa is so riddled with fraud and hacking and all those things that actually that's a necessity. Clip 55, participate in cybersecurity information sharing. Consider participating in information sharing system with similar business or other organizations. The LPC sends a lot of notices out, so take note of that and be a team player. Then again, test for chapter 2, scenario B. You don't have to worry about that, and in any event, I see it's blank. So don't worry about that. It's got nothing to do with you. You're only going to do the official assignments like we have already introduced to you that you have to do. Chapter 3 is all about staff training, and they list all the things they'll be talking about. So let's leave a look at it. Chapter 3, staff training. People due to a lack of knowledge or inattentiveness. Inattentiveness. As an advocate, you can never be inattentive. Sharp, always listening, especially cross-examination teaches you that every word, attentive. When you read pleadings, every word. It's unbelievable after years of practice how many things I see other people don't see. Attorney sends me a summary of what she wants to do in a pleading or opposing pleading, and I look and I say, but you see this and this. This is totally illegal. Oh no, she never saw that. So things like that. That's attentive. So train your staff to be attentive. They're not very attentive, and they don't want to participate. Cybercrimes, they say here on page clip 59, if enacted, cybercrimes bill. It's enacted. I have it in front of me. We're going to look at it now. The list of cyber crimes are the following. Let's have a look at this, because we're going to look at it. I want to look at the structure of the Cyber Crimes Act with you that just came out. Unlawful securing of access, unlawful acquiring of data, unlawful acts of software or hardware tool, cyber fraud, cyber forgery and uttering, cyber extortion, and it goes on there. We'll look in the act in a second at that. On clip 62, they talk about staff training covers the following: cybersecurity and what to do when there's a cyber attack. Now that's interesting. You're going to have to look at that because, you know, I'm not too clever on those things, but what is interesting is, according to some of these experts, you cannot just put your laptop off or plug it out or something like that, they told me. So there's a lot of stuff that I talk about here that can help you. Then I say on clip 33, why cybersecurity is important. I think that's logical. And then on clip 64, they take you through the glossary of terminology: malware, ransomware, phishing, spear phishing, whaling emails. How about that? Denial of service, DOS attacks, digital identity theft, actually dealt with that. 0-day previously unseen exploits. And then on clip 66, they talk about essential cybersecurity tips and advice. There is quite a lot of them. Use multi-factor authentication. If you are concerned about security when traveling, use your phone rather than your laptop. How about that? Turn your browser pop-up blocker. A pop-up blocker should be enabled at all times while browsing the internet. Now that's interesting. And then on clip 70, specific cyber security tips, password management, physical access control, mobile phones. There's quite a lot there. So on clip 70, they give you a lot about this password management. You can go and look at that. 73 talk about multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication should be activated on all business and personal accounts. Banks use multi-factor authentication as a matter of routine. Social media. Guys, have a look at what I say the danger of social media. I think we know all about that. 75 talk about physical access control. And then 76 talk about logical access control, logical. Computer systems should operate to a standard of least privilege. On this basis, staff should only request access to systems and data that they need access to. So depending on who they are. So if you're a big firm, that's going to be important. Suspicious activity. Everyone should be encouraged to report suspicious activity. Example is something arrives at the front desk reception and there's no clear indication for who it is. Then you start asking questions. Policy awareness. Every month or every 2 months, bring your in-house cyber crimes policy under everybody's attention. Clip 79 is a very important one, mobile phones. And I don't know, they tell you stuff here. Here's what I'm saying. When personnel come in, there must be an in-house policy that their phones are off. Their phones are off. They can put them on when they go on lunch and they go out of the building. That's something you can do. People the whole time on their private telephones is not good for your institution. How can it ever be? Clip 80, contractors and third-party suppliers coming on and off your sites. Yeah, I think we all know the situation there and the danger what that can pose. Then they say there a test for chapter 4, and that's the end of that. All right, guys, quickly, just put this up. Go through this clip. I hope it's in a PowerPoint presentation for you. It's very well done. Just read through all of it. Take time out and see what's going on there. Because this was set up because of the Legal Practice Act that says that there's an obligation on law firms to do certain stuff, right? So you need to know it. And apart from the fact that you can get into trouble and be sued, you can get into trouble on misconduct or something worse with the LPC if you don't follow the rules and regulations set out by the Legal Practice Act for law firms. So this is very important. Okay, guys, I'm going to put this here. It's just a short clip. This clip is actually to say to you that look at the audio clips. If they refer to chapters and stuff, don't worry about it. This is actually what that's all about. Just listen to them because their content is very important. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have the Cybercrimes Act 19 for 2020 in me. I just want to take all the repeals out because that's what's making it long. It's a schedule. It's a schedule law repeals or amended. That is actually seriously long. So I'm just going to put that one side and let's just see what's happening in the Cybercrimes Act, because this is cyber law and it's now been promulgated. So you need to know what it's all about. So what is the goal of this act? To create offenses which have a bearing on cybercrime, to criminalize the disclosure of data messages which are harmful, and to provide for interim protection orders. Very important, no? To further regulate jurisdiction in respect of cybercrimes, to further regulate the powers to investigate cybercrimes, to further regulate aspects relating to mutual assistance in respect of the investigation of cybercrimes, to provide for the establishment of designated point of contact, to further provide for the proof of certain facts by affidavit, to impose obligations to report cybercrimes. So there's obligation report. If you don't report, you can get into trouble. To provide for capacity building, to provide for the executive may enter into agreements with foreign states to promote measures aimed at detection, prevention, mitigation, investigation of cybercrimes. So it's 10-1 in line with the United Nations Charter on Cybercrimes. To delete and amend provisions of certain laws and to provide for matters connected therewith. Now, if we look at, we'll see that it consists out of a lot. It's a rather thick act, although I see they have printed it for me in 2 languages. So obviously also the reason for it to be so extensive. So let's quickly have a look what it actually consists of. Therein, Party 1 deals with cybercrimes, unlawful access, unlawful interception of data, unlawful acts in respect of software and hardware tool, unlawful interference with data of computer program. These are all crimes for which you can be charged and go to jail, obviously. You just get a unlawful interference with computer and data storage medium or computer systems. Now, this is important, very important one. People come and they meddle around. You can get charged. Unlawful acquisition, possession, provision, receipt, or use of passwords, access codes, or similar data or device. This thing that we give you our passwords out. The code said, oh, here's a code, quickly go in. You can go and do it. It's out. It's a crime. Cyber fraud, cyber forgery and uttering, cyber extortion, aggravated offenses. Aggravated offenses. Did you know that in the police service there's a unit? I know the captain quite well. They investigate what is called aggravated offenses. There's a unit for that. Theft of incorporeal property. Part 2 is about malicious communications, definitions, data messages which incites damage to property or violence. At last, at last. You can see WhatsApp screaming and those places screaming. Here it comes. Do you see this? You can't just say what you want to anymore. Data message which threatens persons with damage to property or violence. So that's the threat. Disclosure of data messages of intimate image. Ooh, look at that. Disclosure of data messages of intimate image. Interesting. Part 3. Don't you love law? Yeah, of course you do. That's why you want to become an advocate. I'm reading this stuff and in my head, it's clicking with laws and regulations and other acts, and I can see old cases I've done and whatever. Part 3, attempting, conspiring, aiding, abetting, inducing, inciting, instigating, instructing, commanding, or procuring to commit offense. And of course, that's what I do there. Part 4, competent verdicts. Interesting. Sentencing is part 5. Part 6, orders to protect complainants from harmful effect of malicious communications. At last, We are telling people on WhatsApp and Facebook the ugly things, and this is going to stop now. And then, of course, they deal with jurisdiction. This is important. As an advocate, you have to know it because we're moving into cyber, into electronic age. COVID has forced us the whole world faster than ever before. So jurisdiction, here it is. Excellent. Powers to investigate, search, access, or seize. That's going to help the SAPS a lot and other investigation institutions. Mutual assistance, designated point of contact, evidence, proof of certain facts by an affidavit. I'm so happy this is an act because everybody struggles always to put up this electronic affidavits. There in section 52, chapter 6 of this act, they tell you what should happen there. Chapter 7. Reporting obligations and capacity building. That is excellent. And then in chapter 9, general provisions. National executive, we're not interested in that. Then we go to the schedules. Chapter 1, the definition and interpretation, and it starts to run. I just want to go to one section before I'm going to log out, because this is just an introduction telling you what's happening so that you know. And if you get it in the exam, something on it. Just going to see if I can get to number 24. Section 24 was kind of interesting to me. Jurisdiction. A court in the Republic has jurisdiction to try an offence referred to in Part 1 or Part 2 of Chapter 2 if the accused was arrested in the territory of the Republic, the person to be charged is a citizen, a company incorporated in the Republic, any body of persons incorporated or unincorporated in the Republic, the offence was committed in the Republic, on board a vessel, ship, offshore installation, or a fixed platform or an aircraft registered or required to be registered in the Republic at the time of the offence. Wow. So that's what that is all about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is that from me. I've done 3 clips today for you. One on legal opinion, which was very exciting because that's a good source of income. Then one on customary law, which I really enjoyed. And enjoyed the Islamic law too, where I love it that they absolutely for the family nucleus. And then just this short introduction on cybercrime so that you know this act has been acted. And so that you know you have to go through that other document because that is by the Legal Practice Act enforcement obligation to safeguard law firms because law firms are getting hacked left, right, and center. That's it, guys. I think I'll be seeing you again the 15th, I think, when we're going to have a feedback session. All of you that have registered, just to hear how you're doing them, what you're doing and how it's going, all of that. And then we can have a chat with your problems and so on. I'm not chatting about anything that's administrative or operational. It's subject matter. I'm subject matter related. So we can talk about assignments and etc., etc. And I will also engage questions about how you feel about becoming an advocate. And maybe you want to ask me questions on my experience in my past, and then we'll entertain you there. And then any questions there that has bearing on the course itself, we can forward to the coordinator of this program, which is Michelle Beatson. Not Beeston. I keep on calling her Beeston and then I get in trouble. All right, guys, that's it from me. I had fun this morning, and I'm very impressed with the Cyber Crime Act 19 of 2020. It's its last year, and people think they can get away with WhatsApp and those places and saying other people bad. One of the biggest problems I've had in that sense is divorces, where people keep on sending each other's bad message over divorces, and people say, stop doing this. That's a crime now. So go and have a look at this act. And don't worry, it's not really that thick. I got it in 2 languages, and the repealments was added with half of this document. So it's not really that thick, but it's still intensive. Thank you very much for having me. And this is the last time I'm making an official recording for this program, I think, according to my instructions. So now it's, how do they say? Paddle to the metal, or metal to the paddle, or something like that. All right, guys, enjoy, yeah? I'm going to log off now. I'm out of here, and now you have to do it. It's a big step. You're becoming an advocate. There's prestige to it. It's a big step. Let's think about it for a second. You've made this decision. You've enrolled. You're going to September. You're going to be a pupil at the chamber or with an independent advocate, whatever you select. Think about it for a second. You want it? You really want it? It's hard work. But man, my career has been rewarding. I am so happy I made this move years back in my life. I'll see you 10 to 1, the 15th, I'm out of here. And that is the 15th of June. I'm out of here.